Thank you for joining. As you are aware, U.S. President Donald Trump has imposed a 10% tariff on all exported goods from our sovereign, windswept homeland, the Heard and McDonald Islands.
Can someone explain to me why the hell you put tariffs on Pengu? You see this tiny little white dot right there? This one right here, Heard and McDonald Islands. It's got a grand total population of 0 humans, and it takes 2 weeks to reach from Australia by boat.
Special announcement to my Australian friends. Trump has decided to tariff the Heard and McDonald Islands. Hold on, I know you're laughing. For the rest of you who don't know, the reason there's no imports or exports is because the only inhabitants of the islands are penguins.
I'm so glad I voted for Donald Trump. Now I have a president who's going to instill new manufacturing in America with his 25% tariff on all cars made abroad.
What is up YouTube? My name is Happiness and welcome to my channel. Today we're gonna react to people's opinion to the tariffs that President Donald Trump has been placing to all nations of the world, including China, Vietnam, and Sri Lanka. I don't know why he would attack these nations whereby he would put 54% for China, 45% for Vietnam, and I think it's 47% for Sri Lanka.
So if you look at that, China, first row, China, 67%. That's tariffs charged to the USA. In Vietnam, great negotiators, great people. They like me, I like them. The problem is they charge us 90%. We're going to charge them 46% tariff. Sri Lanka, 88%.
And remember that these nations, they are the ones who are heavily producing products for all these American companies and German companies. Let me just make an example like Nike, Puma, Adidas, Reebok, all these clothing brands, you see, because if you open your shoe and then you check, okay, my shoe is either made in Vietnam, China, or Sri Lanka. But also he also tariffs what's this other one, McDonald Islands. He tariffed the penguins. Yes, the penguins are also going to pay more for them exporting their products. I don't know what the penguins are busy producing there in McDonald, but yes, in the McDonald's Islands, the penguins, they must be producing something that is making money in American opinion. So yes guys, let's look at other people's reactions, and also don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Yes, and that is all. So let's check this video.
Thank you for joining. As you are aware, U.S. President Donald Trump has imposed a 10% tariff on all exported goods from our sovereign, windswept homeland, the Heard and McDonald Islands. Now, some have described our territory as uninhabited, others as barren or inhospitable. Even more have described it in detail by saying, there are no humans here. These people are correct, except we are here. We have always been here, watching, standing, sometimes waddling. True, we may not export goods in the traditional sense, unless you count style, contempt, and the occasional puffin who is really, really lost. Stupid puffins. But it's the principle. To target our proud penguin nation with tariffs is a declaration, not of war. We're not saying that because we're penguins and not big on fighting. Hard to punch someone with flippers. But we are saying we know where the fish are. And we control the supply. Kinda, maybe, I don't know. We're penguins. We say a lot of shit. If President Trump believes that Heard and McDonald Islands pose an economic threat to the United States, we humbly suggest that he look inward and possibly at a map that hasn't been sharpied yet. This is not the first time we have been underestimated. Actually, it may be. There's no way of knowing. Again, we're penguins. But let it be known, we are not simply just birds in little suits. We are birds in tuxedos. Speak off, Trump. Thank you. No questions.
Got a question for the Americans here. Yeah, thanks. I know you guys are super busy right now trying to find a country to sell you eggs, but can someone explain to me why the hell you put tariffs on pengu? You see this tiny little white dot right there? This one right here, herd in McDonald Islands. It's got a grand total population of 0 humans, and it takes 2 weeks to reach from Australia by boat. It got 10% tariffs placed on it yesterday. Nobody lives there but penguins. Did this administration watch March of the Penguins and think it was a southern border invasion or something? The fuck did Happy Feet do to you, bud? You want to know 2 countries that didn't get tariffs placed on them yesterday, though? Russia and North Korea. Apparently my tiny little snow Mexican brain here isn't capable of understanding the nuances of such intricate trade deals. So can someone from Yankee Doodle Land down there just please explain to the rest of us, what in the actual fuck are you guys doing? Seriously, it makes no goddamn sense, bud. You guys should be fucking embarrassed.
Special announcement to my Australian friends. Trump has decided to tariff the herd and McDonald Islands. Hold on, I know you're laughing. For the rest of you who don't know. So we put herd and McDonald Islands a tariff of 10%. But here's the funny part. It has a country code and everything, but there's no imports or exports. The reason there's no imports or exports is because the only inhabitants of the islands are penguins. Trump... Sorry, I shouldn't laugh. I know this is going to destroy, the entire world trading situation, but he tariffed penguins? I cannot wait to see what Australia says about this.
Who knew that tariff equality was going to make everyone in the world angry at America? But maybe that's the point. This week, Trump dropped massive reciprocal tariffs. 54% on China, 24% on Japan, 20% on the EU, and everyone else got at least 10%. Canada's furious. China's threatening retaliation. The EU says America's isolating itself. And Trudeau, he said, we will never be the 51st state. That's how personal it's getting. But here's the truth no one is saying. For decades, America has been on the losing end of global trade. We've been out-tariffed, undercut, and sold out by leaders who care more about the global approval than American jobs, and you can see it already. Now that MAGA is flipping the script, the world is calling it a crisis. I haven't seen so many crybabies. These tariffs aren't about isolation. They're about respect. If you tax our goods, we tax yours. It's not revenge. It's balance. And while global elites cry injustice, working class Americans are finally seeing policies that put them first. Jobs protected, manufacturing returning, leverage restored. Look, of course the world is upset when you've been winning off someone else's weakness. You don't like when they get strong again. So yeah, it's America versus the world right now. But if you're on board with getting America back on track, make sure to follow for more, because this isn't about making friends. It's about making things fair again.
Oh, what was that? That boomers' entire retirement just went down the drain because of the crash yesterday? Well, maybe now they need to handle their finances a little bit better. Maybe they need to stop buying those $5 lattes that they treat themselves to once in a while, because that's the issue, right? It's a mismanagement of finances. It's not external forces that sometimes you can't control. Not the fact that it's pure market manipulation at play. It has nothing to do with that, right? It's all personal accountability and all your own choices that you made. So I guess you lost all of your retirement savings. So no more coffees for you.
I'm so glad I voted for Donald Trump. Now I have a president who's going to instill new manufacturing in America with his 25% tariff on all cars made abroad. That's not what's going to happen. You see, companies care primarily about cost, and they're simply going to weigh their options. And American labor is so expensive that what's most likely going to happen is those companies are just going to continue to make their cars abroad and pay the 25% tariff. And then they're going to pass that new cost to them onto us through higher car prices. And that's simply because 25% tariffs might still be cheaper, most likely will be cheaper than assembling their cars or building their cars inside the United States. That's because American labor is expensive. The reason you have a good salary, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, which you're probably barely getting by with, but when you compare it to the rest of the world, that is far and above the average world salary. And that's because American labor is expensive. So these companies, they're not going to just switch everything to American production. They're most likely going to pay the 25% tariff and then pass that cost onto you through higher car prices.
Your reaction to the tariffs?
Well, listen, I think auto workers in my state are cheering big time. They finally got a president who's got their backs, going to protect their jobs, raise their wages. And, I think farmers feel the same. Somebody's going to fight for fair trade deals.
Even though the markets are falling?
What's that?
Even though the markets are falling, I mean, the economy looks pretty concerning right now.
Wall Street banks don't like it, but I'm not too concerned about Wall Street. I'm concerned about working people in my state. And, I think this is a chance for them to finally get a fair deal on trade. It's been bad for my state. We've lost tens of thousands of jobs to China and Missouri since China joined the World Trade Organization. 7 million jobs nationwide. I mean, we just can't go on like that. I wish he'd put higher tariffs on China.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet.
We have breaking news in the U.S. economy right now. Stocks down 1,300 points on the day. The Dow Jones just cratering right now on Wall Street. This is just a few minutes into trading. We'll see if stocks can recover at some point today, but the economic slowdown has begun. This on the backs of President Trump's latest round of tariffs. He just announced this global trade war heating up now. Reciprocal tariffs, the president slapping a 10% baseline tariff on all goods imported into the United States. That's just the baseline. China would now be a 34% tariff on most goods. In Vietnam, it's a 46% U.S. tariff. And in Taiwan, a 32% tariff on goods from Taiwan. So no word on how these numbers were calculated by the White House, but nonetheless, the damage is done on Wall Street. Again, as of this recording, down 1,300 points on the Dow. The S&P 500, a huge indicator on Wall Street, down almost 3.5% right now. That would be the biggest single day loss in several years. So the economic slowdown has begun. We'll see if stocks can recover.
The stock market is in absolute free fall because of Donald Trump's tariff policy. As you can see here, this is Dow futures, which got cut off, but it's down 2.87%. Yikes. S&P futures down 3.4%, down 196 points. NASDAQ futures, this is the big one, down almost 800 points, 4%. This is bad. Now, look, who knows what's going to happen? This could drag on for months and absolutely devastate things, or they could change their mind or come out tomorrow and say, got you, we're not really doing this. People are getting tired of this. Our allies overseas are losing faith in us, and if this is some sort of game, it's going to piss people off in a big way. But if you're a new investor, can you take advantage of a day like today? Here's what I'm doing. Now, if you're a long-term investor who's buying one S&P 500 ETF, one technology ETF, one dividend ETF, nothing changes. You just stay the course, keep doing what you're doing. But if you're a new investor and you're thinking, hey, I want to buy some high-quality long-term investments, days like today are great opportunities, and why I am such a huge proponent of writing down a recession wish list. Some stocks that you want to buy when there's a recession and get heavily discounted. Now, I know some people are going to say, you shouldn't wait, you should always be buying, and I agree, you should always be buying, but there are opportunities to be had, like today, to take advantage of some major dips. But how do you do it?
I hate to break it to you, but yes, Trump's tariffs are about to make everything more expensive. From groceries to wedding dresses, your wallet is gonna feel it. But don't panic, I'm Mrs. Dow Jones, a millennial finance expert, and I'm gonna give you a breakdown of these new tariffs and the 3 crucial money moves you need to make to survive them. On what Trump called Liberation Day, he announced 2 trade changes: a 10% baseline tariff on all imports to the US, reciprocal tariffs. So like, if a country taxes our exports more, we're gonna match that tax on their imports. Tariffs tariff is basically a tax on imported goods, which then gets passed on to the consumer. So higher tariffs equal higher prices. And the reason that Trump is enacting tariffs is that he thinks that they will bring jobs back to America by boosting domestic manufacturing. But in reality, on Liberation Day, we sort of just got liberated from low prices and the stock market tanked, but you are not powerless. I've got 3 money moves that you can make today to soften the blow. Number 1, you gotta audit your budget. Now is the time to go through your spending, cut things you don't need, and also try to negotiate your bills to free up more cash. Number 2, shop smart. Shop sales, buy in bulk. Costco is gonna be crowded the next 4 years. Shop secondhand and comparison shop. Number 3, keep investing and stay diversified. Quick history lesson, in 2020, the market crashed 4 times and still ended the year up 18%. So don't panic sell. Your portfolio is going to recover. But for diversification, I would also add in some low-cost global index funds like the ones on screen to get exposure to other economies beyond the US. Follow for more, take a deep breath, and stay rich.
You know what the worst part about all of this is? The worst part about a possibility of a $2,300 iPhone because iPhones could get 43% more expensive? The worst part about the stock market taking its deepest plunge since 2020? The worst part about cars becoming $6,000 to $7,000 more expensive? The worst part about losing our standing in the world and having it affect our closest allies? You know what the worst part about all of it is? It's completely self-inflicted. We would be objectively so much better off if Donald Trump had taken office and done nothing. If he'd just done nothing. The guy who was so concerned about the stock market his first term and used it as a barometer of the economy is openly and willingly tanking it right now. The guy who ran his first election with the promise of being a jobs president wanted to create 25 million of them in the next decade. He is now begging the Supreme Court to let him fire more people. And the rubiest of red cherries on top of this shit Sunday is that TikTok might be banned in 2 days. So check out the link in my bio and follow me there, because, you know.
Tariffs have been the best thing to happen to the stock market since the pandemic. So yesterday they announced the tariffs, and after that the stock market fell. Unpopular opinion, but tariffs are good for the stock market because lower prices are better prices. Unless you're looking to sell, lower prices is what you want. I learned this lesson from Warren Buffett, and now I'm going to pass it along to you. He wrote the following in the 1997 Berkshire Hathaway letter to shareholders. Quote, a short quiz. If you plan to eat hamburgers throughout your life and are not a cattle producer, should you wish for higher or lower prices for beef? Likewise, if you're going to buy a car from time to time but are not an auto manufacturer, should you prefer higher or lower car prices? These questions, of course, answer themselves. Quote, but now for the final exam. If you expect to be a net saver during the next 5 years, should you hope for a higher or lower stock market during that period? Many investors get this one wrong. Even though they are going to be net buyers of stocks for many years to come, they are elated when stock prices rise and depressed when they fall. In effect, they rejoice because prices have risen for the hamburgers they will soon be buying. Quote, this reaction makes no sense. Only those who will be sellers of equities in the near future should be happy at seeing stocks rise. Prospective purchasers should much prefer sinking prices. So change your investing mindset. The Dow and the S&P 500 are now less expensive than they were yesterday. Tariffs have been the best thing to happen to the stock market since the pandemic. Learn the lessons about money that your friends and family don't know. Download my free newsletter linked off the bio. Good luck. Take care.
Yes, guys, again, you heard what I said. Trump is not playing. Some people are happy about it. Some people are not happy about it. It is affecting the stock market. And let's remember, it has always been the agenda for the government, the US government, because even the Democrats has always talked about this in previous years. And the Republicans are pushing on it. Donald Trump is pushing on it. He was talking about Japan back in the day, but now he's focused on China and all these other countries, sorry, by the way. But despite that, guys, thank you for watching my channel. Please like and subscribe, and let's meet up to the next one. Peace out.